Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Get Shorty After Show. We have some really special guests for you today, so I'm really excited about that. But will Rick and Miles, would they really find this problem going on? And will Lewis and Miles really turn Rick into the FBI? We really need to talk about this, so keep it locked.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, we can't trust it, okay? We can't trust it, guys. We can't trust anything that's going on in this episode.
At all.
We can't trust it at all. Okay, guys, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. So today we have some really special guests for you, some super fans of Get Shorty. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them, and we're going to get into some overall thoughts. And later on in the episode, we're going to do our special segment, as you know, some mobs and movies. And we also have our news and gossip segment for you, along with some predictions. So keep it locked with us, okay? And to the left of me, I have Eric Russell.
Yes, what is going on? Thank you so much for having me, Thelma.
I'm so happy that you're here. So how did this episode leave you feeling?
You know, I'm a little calm now. I was stressed a few minutes ago because Lewis is losing his damn mind.
Listen.
But we're coming back, all right?
We're coming back to it.
Right.
Oh, and this over here, we have our wonderful, beautiful Danielle Brackett. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for inviting me.
So what did you think of this episode?
It had me on my toes, definitely. I don't like the suspense, but, you know, it was funny, and it was a great episode overall.
I'm glad. And of course, last but certainly not least, we have Kingsley Vaseway. Daniel, we're so happy you could join us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So what are you thinking about this episode?
I thought it was really suspenseful, like she said. I felt like it had me on the edge of my toes, but towards the end, everything settled, and I liked it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So I think for me, honestly, I saw a few themes this episode that really continued to go on, and we're going to talk about them. The first one that I saw was something along the lines of always saying less than necessary, right? Wonderful, because when we started off this scene, I thought it was really interesting because you see Miles reacting to Lewis telling him the news about Rick, but he never says any words when he comes out of the car, right? It's all silent, it's all super heavy, and we have some amazing, the art direction was done by Steve Arnold on top of that roof, which was really, really dope. And I think the music always does a really good job. Peter Rotter actually heads the music at Get Shorty, and he's also known for doing great music. He worked with Frozen, he's also known for James Cameron's Avatar. So it was really good to see how the drums and the suspense was even heightened by not only the art direction, but the music that we have going on, right? So just kind of bringing it back to that theme of always saying less than necessary, I thought that, you know, when he first came into the car, he was concerned for Rick because he's like, what's going on? And then he realized that Rick has been talking to the FBI. So things switch really quickly. And and we don't know how he's really going to react to it. And it's a little sad at first because he was really disappointed in Rick. It's like, what's going on, dude? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's happening? And I love how the actors have really mastered, and Davey Holmes, the show writer, amazing guy, he really has mastered a way of injecting humor into such serious episodes. You know, one thing that I love is that they use physical humor. So even like in the middle of the interrogation, having to move Rick into the boiler room, you know, those little things are really funny because like all this stuff is going on, but they still find ways to be funny. And I really like that. It keeps it light. But, you know, another person kind of used the whole idea of saying less than necessary is Rick. He never says anything. And I think that has also played into where he is now because he plays dumb, but he also learns everybody around him. He learns their motivations, you know? So for Rick to be at this spot, you know, oh my goodness, he talked to the FBI before the Emerald's Mistress, way before the Emerald's Mistress. So for him to be now just getting caught halfway through season 2, that shows you that he's a little smart, right? He's done something right. He's done something right in being able to deceive the people around him in the sense of playing dumb to disarm them. So I think we really have to give Rick a little bit of credit when it comes to that. What do you guys think? Do you think that you're feeling sorry for Rick in this moment? Or, you know, are you feeling like, okay, I understand where he's coming from? I'd like to toss it to you, Kingsley. What are you thinking about Rick right now? You feeling sorry for him?
I don't feel sorry for Rick. I think that what he did, and in the end, it was justified. But I think that by him speaking to the people about the movie, I think it's not good.
Definitely not good. What do you guys think? Are you feeling some sympathy for Rick?
I felt a little sorry for him when he started bringing up his family. When we realized that was just a ploy to kind of get the audience's feelings involved. They're like, you don't even talk to your children, you know? So,
Right.
Literally, he like used his whole child. Like his whole child was in freaking rehab, and he used him. So you're right. You're absolutely right.
but yeah, no. So it's kind of funny to see him squirm and wiggle and try and get out of the situation. But I don't feel sorry for him. I kind of want to see what happens to him next.
I feel bad for Rick in the sense that he got a bit of a...
Thank you. Someone else.
all right, don't get crazy. A little bit. Un poquito. I feel a little bad because he got a bogus deal with the Admiral's mistress. I mean, he came on because the project... We know where the project started from. It wasn't his to begin with, but he took it on and, you know, he wanted to help Miles out because that wasn't his arena for film. He talks about squid and stuff like that. But, you know, he got involved in that, and now here he is tied up to a chair. But I feel like he's in love with Amara. Like, you know who you're messing with at this point.
He really does. He does know who he's messing with, and I'm glad that you brought up that he was like literally in the hot seat. That's like
right.
He was
In the boiler room.
Yeah, in the boiler room. Like it was hot. Like the entire. It was hot the entire episode. And then when they turned the light off, we all thought for a second, okay, there's something wrong.
Right. Ain't nobody
like,
paid a bill in the warehouse. Right.
Ain't nobody paid a bill in the warehouse. When we went into the boiler room, it was just dark. I was like, wait, what's happening? Like,
TV off.
Yeah, the TV off.
Right.
What's going on? But again, I just love how they're able to insert those little moments of intensity and then those little moments of humor, right? That's really goes to tell that even though this is such a funny show, it's really, really rooted in a lot of drama. And I'm really excited to see how Rick is, because what I noticed about Rick actually is the fact that he has really learned what motivates Miles. Even though he's being interrogated, he's in a space where he can tell Miles and let him know, hey, I don't really think the FBI is after you. They're really after the cartel. Dropping those little nuggets I thought was very smart, because then he can, sway him a little bit and kind of let him see the clear of day. And I also thought it was brilliant of him to request a way to die, right? Because that also bought him some time.
Right.
So I really feel like Ray Romano's doing an amazing job with this character, but he has so much depth and so much complexity that people are not really picking up on, because he's making really smart moves, But one thing that wasn't smart, I just don't know how he missed Gladys and Lewis being a thing. Like, that's just too much. It's too much for me. What do you think?
I mean, Gladys has been real adamant about keeping this on the hush because
You're right.
One, she's pregnant. She's pregnant from, can you give me the term? Because I've never used this in my life.
Soaking? Okay, yes,
right,
from soaking.
Right. She's pregnant from soaking. So it's like, the fact that she's doing this with a Mormon who she doesn't really know, it's like, there's no real reason for her to brag.
Yeah.
So I can see how Rick was able to be completely oblivious to this. Mm-hmm. Gladys would have killed, she would have absolutely killed Lewis if he would have said something.
If he would have said something, I get that. And I feel like Lewis is such a principled man. Even though he's a murderer for hire and a mobster, he's still very rooted in his principles and in his morals. And I think that's even the reason he was able to allow... that's probably the reason he allowed Rick to pick a way to die, right? Because, like, who wants to... You're killing the guy. You don't need to be nice to him. You know what I mean? He's like, but that's how he wants to go. Right. So, let me adhere to that. So I thought that was also really sweet. But speaking of things that are sweet, I have some news for you guys, and we're going to definitely talk about this because Rick might not need our help, or might need a lot of sympathy, actually. He might need a lot of help right now. But I know for a fact that AfterBuzz definitely needs your help. Hi, AfterBuzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve television fans like you. But like I said, we need your help. So we need you to subscribe to either one or more or all of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our YouTube channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made just for you. And who doesn't like that? And if you're worried about pesky notifications, do not worry about those because they are optional, okay? Believe me, I promise. So hit that subscribe button right now. Thank you. And check out all of our after shows and let us know that you did so in the comments, and I'll be sure to shout you out. And for now, thank you for being the best fans ever and helping us be the ESPN of TV talk. All right, guys, so as we're talking about all this craziness that's going on, I think one of the other really important themes that I saw in this episode was just not committing to anyone, right, but yourself. So big shout out to Robert Greene, but also just not committing to anyone but yourself. I kind of saw that, right? Because you see Rick have that moment and Miles have that moment of just like, what am I really doing here? And his motivation is really rooted in Shorty. Since we met Miles dismantling a body at the beginning of the episode, at the beginning of the series, literally dismantling a body at the beginning of the series with Lewis, he was consistently always in a space where he's thinking about his family. He's motivated by his family. So I really think hearing from Shorty on that phone call switched things for him because he was so ready to really just like go along with it. What do you think about that, Kings? I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, that's where I was going earlier. I felt like once he got the phone call, it kind of grounded him, and he switched. He flipped his mind, and he began thinking about his family. He began thinking about Shorty. He began thinking about the future, which was why he offered to speak with the police when 10 or 5 minutes before he was calling Rick. His name Rick a snake for doing so. So I feel like definitely the call from Shorty really changed his mind.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. But like, you know, honestly, I feel like every single, you guys know that every single episode I'm always giving Lewis a best friend award because he's always there for Miles. Whenever he needs anything, he's there for Miles. But I think it's really sad that Miles can't really put Lewis into consideration. You know, to some extent, he's always betrayed Lewis, right? Even moving from Las Vegas to L.A., Lewis wasn't really on board, but then he wrote him on board. When he killed the writer, he just automatically made Lewis the writer, you know? And then when he went to Gallo about, you know, getting the cartel involved, it was bad enough that they wanted to involve Amara. She's scary. You know what I mean? And she put $2 million towards the Admiral's mistress. Yeah. And when he wanted to go ahead and involve the cartel, Lewis adamantly said no, but he went behind his back anyways. So now coming into this episode and seeing that, I kind of understand it to some extent because like we said, he's motivated by his family, but seeing that he really doesn't weigh Lewis too much into his deals and into how he's feeling, I think it was touchy for me. What do you think, Danielle?
I just think that, you know, friendship is really important, and especially in this line of business, you know, you don't know, you know, what grounds you're going to cross or friendship, you know, you're going to backstab him. And I think going to the FBI says something about their relationship. And that he's thinking about himself and his family. Yeah. So it's too soon to see right now. Yeah. But I want to say that he's going to have his friend's interests, you know, at hand. Yeah. And not just throw him under the bus. But, you know.
No, you're right. Because even when he went to Agent Dillard, he said to her, you know, I'm looking for immunity for myself and for Lewis. Right. So it's not like he just totally tossed that out there. But I think Lewis pulling the gun on Miles just felt to me like the beginning of the end of their relationship, which is really sad, right? Because how do you, I mean,
I think it's like a test of their friendship.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, that's I'm gonna give it that.
Yeah, it is a test of their friendship. You're right. It is a test of their friendship. But I think in that moment, Lewis realized that Miles will never regard me the way I regard him. And I think that Lewis would never do that to Miles, but Miles is doing that to Lewis. Yeah. But on the flip side, I will say that Miles, in a lot of ways, saves Lewis from himself. So maybe he doesn't see it now, because like you said, he has a baby on the way. Right. Boy, you just got married, okay? You need to be worried about your family. Right. You know what I mean? So he does. So there is that aspect as well. But it just really felt like, such a sad moment for me. You know?
I think they'll survive.
Right. Yeah. Lewis is the Robin to Miles' Batman. All right, let's keep it a buck. That's what that is. And if anything ever happens to Miles, Lewis is gonna be lost, just stabbing in the dark.
Yeah. They need each other.
With his little walker, like, what's happening?
Right. Cane and all. Girl, please. So, I mean, this is the thing. Since season 1, Miles has been a mess. Katie has not been messing with him because of his lifestyle. Like, the people he works for, all of this, just like, look, you want our child, then you need to make some changes. And I feel like Miles is now getting to that point where it's like, look, you're trying to take full custody of Shorty. I can't have that. So I get the love that you have for Lewis, but it's like, this is my daughter, and if I don't make these changes, it's over. You're right. And he can't lose that. And I feel like Lewis doesn't have that weight on his shoulder just yet, because he's unofficially married. The baby's not here yet. Gladys is still trying to figure out how she feels about him. So it's just like Lewis isn't in that mental space that Miles is in.
It absolutely hasn't dawned on Lewis. That's a wonderful point, because also Lewis hasn't shared with Gladys what he does. And you hear Ray Romano's character Rick allude to that, along with Miles allude to that. It's like, does she know what you do for a living?
Right.
And, you know, being the man that he is, the Mormon man that he is, he responds, lying is frowned upon. And in my religion, it's like, but you're a killer. Like, you're literally about to kill him, but you're not willing to lie to her about the fact, you know what I mean? So, and I love how, poor Miles, like the last episode, you would have heard Miles trying to be honest. He's always trying to be honest with Shorty and honest with Katie. But he was like, no, honesty is, you know, the root of all evil. So do not be honest, which is a little cynical, you know? So I really hope that, because while he's cynical, I do think that Miles is also so rooted in his beliefs. Like, he's very idealistic, you know? Because I will argue that it's about Shorty, but it's also about his love for movies. If you see the way he's talking to Agent Dillard, right? He like holds her hands and like, this film is going to be good. So it really means a lot to him. And I think Rick also knows that, which is why he plants those little seeds of, you know, we can make this happen, because he knows what motivates Miles. In addition to it being his family, it's also a need to be legitimate. He's worked so hard to be legitimate. So I think that's something that really motivates him. And Miles also touched on something this episode that we've always alluded to, and we've seen little snaps of here and there in regards to his uncle and coming from Ireland, but he gave us a little more detail on that. And I think that, you know, there's another theme in the wonderful book that is just talking about staying away from like unlucky and unhappy people. And I think that we see that a lot happening with Rick and Miles. They're both extremely unlucky. They're both extremely unlucky. So I think it was only a matter of time till they rubbed off on each other and something big like this happened. I'm really sad that it's happening to Rick. I mean, you look when you want to say something. Go ahead, Eric.
Rick gotta get it together. like I want to have all the sympathy that you have, but this is a grown man who had his own life carved for him, and I feel like he got lost in the way. First off, you're not telling me that Amara has you sprung. Amara is what? 50 plus? And I don't want to be ageist. I do not want to be ageist.
Oh, wow.
I really do not want to be ageist.
Listen, actually, I heard something on The View today that said women have the best sex in their 60s.
Oh, in their 60s.
In their 60s.
Okay.
Look at Kingsley's face. It's like, what?
All right. Well, with
Shout out to you, Omar.
With that sex comes a whole mafia. Is it that good? Is it that I gotta get shot up for it? Is that the vibe?
It's not worth it.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
No.
And you know, Miles, like Rick even said that. He was like, man, if it wasn't for you, I'd be on my way to my next D movie.
Basically.
Straight to blockbuster movie. Like he was like, I had already accepted the fact that I was like a D-list producer. Like, why did you have to come and put all your ideals in me and all these beliefs in me? You know, so it's a little sad for me though. I really hope. I don't know, but we didn't see Rick. Well, you know, at the end we do see him kind of open up. Do you think he did that to himself, or you think Lewis did it for sure?
Weren't his arms taped? Or am I creating that in my head?
I think Lewis did it.
They were taped though, but I don't know. I mean, it's been a while. You couldn't wiggle.
Rick couldn't. He wasn't wiggling in the boiler room when he was 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Because he didn't want them to. Because
the thing is, Rick is a little smarter than he lets on. He doesn't want them to know, you know, that maybe he's on to try to escape. You know, I think a lot of times when you give people the impression that they're so much more superior than you, they don't even see it coming, right? When you want to sneak in or when you want to do something. So I really think that Rick, he knows about all of this. He's known what was going on. This man came to you with $2 million in cash. Who does that? What other film, you know what I mean? You knew what was going on. So I will say he has to take responsibility for where he is now. But you brought up a really great point, Danielle, because we have never seen Rick in this super humanizing place where he's talking about like his kids and like his dad. He was like, my dad isn't even gonna know what happened till they turn off his light because he takes care of his father. So it was a really, I don't know. Guys, I do have a little bit.
No, that part, yeah, I give you that. I give you that.
And he did that on purpose because he felt that way, right?
He knows what he's
doing. He
did
his job.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't feel bad for you, Rick, because, look me right in the eye. Do not feel bad for you because Amara sat on that bed, looked you dead in the eye, and asked you if you were working with the FBI, and you lied to her. He lied to her face. You could have told her, you don't know. If your love is that strong, you know, you're over here talking about tell Amara that I love her.
You remember The Maid?
I mean, he knew about the maid too, and that's what I'm saying.
Why would you tell Amara if you know what happened to the maid?
I mean, that episode, Pest Control, was really intense, and I feel like they were looking for Rick. He already knew what was going on. And a lot of the people in Amara's staff, including Ed, they're on to Rick, you know? But I think that he knew. I think he really does care about Amara, but he knows what, you know what I mean? He knows what can happen. She's killed many of her ex-boyfriends. That's how the FBI even reeled him in. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know how much.
This is deadly.
Save yourself. Literally.
This is literally deadly. But we have to talk about this amazing addition to the cast. Like, I'm very, very, very excited. Because, you know, I did watch Desperate Housewives along all the many things that she does, Felicity, and she's an amazing addition playing Claire Hillard. I think that, did you guys hear about the little nap that she did? I love how she brings this little moments in where she's so tough that she's so easygoing. And because of how easygoing she is, she doesn't have to, like, exude this bravado in order to show how tough she is, you know? She's talking to her grandkids.
Right.
She's like, oh, you know, Granny will only da-da-da-da-da. The next thing you know, she's like, okay, I need to take a nap. And right when those men start to doubt her, like, is she sleeping? What's going on? No, she naps for 13 minutes and works 20 hours straight. So this lady is dedicated to the cause,
Right.
you know?
Same.
No, yeah, but somebody who did use a little bit of bravado, which is another tactic to kind of intimidate your opponent, right? You can either be so calm that they're like, okay, what does he know? You know what I mean? Or you can be so larger than life that it's like, okay, he must have something up his sleeve. And I think that's the track that Miles took, was coming into the FBI, busting in with a lot of bravado, with a lot of demands, kind of already thinking or knowing that they're going to adhere to him. What do you guys think of that?
I think he definitely readjusted. Like, with the first, he's clearly a novice investigator. Did we get a name for him? The blue suit. We're gonna call him blue suit for lack of a better. Before Claire came in and really handled the business.
You don't even deserve it, blue suit.
Right.
You really were about to tank that off for Claire.
He was about to ruin it.
He was gonna ruin it.
But I feel like that's why Miles came in with that bravado, because you're clearly unseasoned. You're not the point person
Let me
here.
talk to the boss.
Where's Claire? And then once Claire came in, it was like, all right, let me tone it down. Let me clasp your hands and let me talk to you with respect, because you know who you could get away with certain activity with, but Miles was not going to take that approach with her. You attract more bees with honey than vinegar. And I feel like with Claire, you needed honey.
I like that. That's a tweetable moment, okay? Because the bees are dying, so we need to.
AfterBuzz.
Okay, now we're buzzing.
Right.
The
Too many
buzz.
bee puns.
Okay. Okay, let's not go down the bee track.
Cut the check. That was great.
Let's go into the beehive. All right. So I saw your reactions a little bit, but you know, the wonderful thing about all of this show is so crazy. This show is so crazy, and it's always filled with all these moments. I really want to know, like, I'm so glad that you guys are super fans and you're here to celebrate the show with me. But I'm going to start with Kingsley. Why are you a super fan of the show?
Well, I'm really into the character Amara,
Yeah.
and I love how the fact that she's so tough, yet she exuberates calmness as well, and I feel like that's something that a leader should have. I like the show. I like the mob ties. I think it's really interesting. I love following the character Rick and Shorty. I mean, not Shorty. What's his name?
Lewis.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Lewis.
The bromance.
Yeah. So I love that, and I think it's a great show. So.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And what about you, Daniel?
Who plays Lewis again?
He's just so amazing in every way.
He was in
Lewis,
Bridesmaids, right?
No, that's Miles.
Miles, okay. Who
Chris
plays
O'Dowd.
Miles?
Chris O'Dowd.
Okay, yeah, he's super dreamy.
Maybe
Maybe it's the accent.
You over here playing.
A low-key snack.
Yeah.
He's a high. Okay, let me just stay out of this.
I'm just tuning in for him, honestly.
No, but you know what? He actually just had a new film come out called Juliet Naked. Shameless plug. We support you here, Chris O'Dowd, so you can go, lust over him in the big screen
Thanks,
too.
girl. All right, I'm gonna have
You
to
the
check
homie.
that.
Danielle's like, is the movie theater still open? What about you, Eric? Why are you a huge fan of the show?
I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of shows that have circles around mob ties because it's so severe. But the fact that this has such great comedic timing keeps me back in it. Like Ray Romano, everybody loves Raymond. How could you forget? And
Yeah.
he still has that element. He's that comedian always
Yeah.
and forever. And I love that I can't predict what's next. I think that's a horrible show. So anytime that you can send me in one direction and I'm confident that we're making a calm left and now we're on another turnpike, I'm like, all right. I'll be back next week. That's what I like.
They keep you there. So Davy Holmes does an amazing job of doing that, and I love that. You know, I kind of mentioned this before. The fact that we have taken a project that is not super unique in the sense that it has a book and it already has a film, and they're bringing a TV show and just elevating it to such a high level, I think is really wonderful, and that can be said about the entire cast. You know. So now that we're talking about mobs and movies, guys, we're going to get into our special segment. But, you know, we do this special segment, if you watch, which is all of you guys, where we do mob movies, right? So we talk about our favorite mob moments, our favorite movie moments, but I think it's really important to always add a bit of education. Like you said, this is a little heavy, right? And at the end of the day, it's always important to bring things back to real life. And today we're going to be talking about a mobster. And so we're going to go into our special segment, and then we'll go into our... Hey. This song just makes you feel like, you know, you want to like pop your collar or something.
Right. I need to tint my windows. I like that.
A little buzz. A little something. Okay. So guys, today we are talking about American gangster Henry Hill. If you know about this man, I'm going to give you some facts, some details. Henry Hill is a New York mobster who was a part of the Lucchese family crime ring. He started at the tender age of 12 years old, guys. And by age 37, 25 years later, he became an FBI informant.
What?
And that's why I chose him for this episode, because it's like, you know, you see Miles trying to do the little trick over to this side. But
I'm taking it in.
No, seriously. And the great thing about him is, in addition to him becoming an FBI informant, he was a successful FBI informant. His testimony put away 50 gangsters.
Wow.
And if you didn't know it already, if you're a big fan of Martin Scorsese, his life, you know, Henry Hill's life, was the documentation and the base for Goodfellas.
Oh,
the movie Goodfellas. So it was just really cool to kind of bring things full circle, right? And just kind of make those educational moments as well. What are you thinking about that?
12? Where were his parents? Was there no school system? Like, what's happening?
You know, you're right. You're right. But, you know, a lot of times these people get started really young. Yeah. And I actually say because he got started so young was probably the reason why he was able to flip later. Because it's just like, or maybe, I don't know, maybe that's the opposite. I just don't know, but that's crazy.
It's
12 years
time.
old.
It's wild.
He was an OG already.
He was an OG.
Right.
Yeah, he was like, bro, I don't even know. He was like, half these people I don't even care about at this point. They can take them off. Right. But I thought it was really important because, you know, bringing it back to the show, like, but there's that fight between, like, you don't want to be a rat, right? You don't want to rat things out. But at the same time, should you not call out injustices? Should you not call out things that are wrong? Or I guess it's not really an injustice because then it's self-serving when you've been a part of it for so long and then you flip on the people who you're supposed to be loyal to. So it's really touchy.
But also, like, the ties, like, there's so much, like, one of the most infamous mobster cases I know is John Gotti's case. And I feel like once you work with the feds, your family is cooked. And your family is done. And I feel like that's most mobsters' main concern. It's like, if I work with you, is my family safe? Witness protection is nothing to a mobster.
Yeah.
I will shoot you and the police station that you're running into.
Yeah.
You know? So I get that you want to turn your life around, but it's like, they're not forgiving.
Yeah. But I mean, he did live to age 69, and, you know, in Goodfellas, he was played by Ray Liotta. So I think that was just really, really cool. But also, guys, we have some news and gossip for you, so let's hop into some lighter stuff, okay? With the AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Alrighty, guys. So, you know, we're big fans of the cast here. And Caroline Codd said something. She's the one who plays Shorty.
Okay.
Emma. Emma and Shorty. Okay. So, I've watched the film. I've read the book. I know. I'm a big nerd. But in the film, Shorty's a different person. So, I will give you the benefit of the doubt a little bit, Caroline. She didn't know that she and Shorty were the same person. And I have a little clip about how she found out. Go ahead and roll it.
Okay, so it was like the
So she didn't know what was going on in terms of the script, and they have an entire like table read, and I think it's really funny because you just never know. But the fact that she was a young girl and had the confidence to be like, listen, I don't know what's going on here, because you know some people would have just been like, Mom, just I don't know, like you go ask. So I think that it was really bold of her to walk up. But you hear the clip. Let's go ahead and roll it.
read ever. We were all going in. I was so freaking nervous, guys. I was like, I don't know what to do. All these people are here. They're so important. So I go in and I'm just saying hi hi to everyone. I'm like, hi, I'm Carolyn, nice to meet you. So we go through the whole table read. I thought that Amara was Shorty.
Okay.
But at the end, my dad goes, night, Shorty, love you. So I was like, I'm just really conflicted and confused. So I go up to the director and I'm like, so who's Shorty? It's Amara, right? And he's like, no, it's you. I'm like, I'm sorry. I was like, I did not get this information. So that's basically how it happened.
Oh my God, she's so cute.
She's super cute.
We're probably going to be having her on the show pretty soon.
Wow.
So yeah, you guys think
Oh my gosh.
keep it locked to the after show. Hopefully she's gonna be joining us pretty soon. So that would be really exciting.
Oh, really
dope.
cool.
So okay, guys, we talked about this last after show. I was so taken aback when Goya Rubbles, who plays Iago, started like rapping and doing his little thing. So I was like, this cannot just be for Get Shorty. So I started doing my research. Turns out he is this amazingly talented poet, and he does spoken word.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God, and we have a clip for you, and it really touched me. I just wanted to show you guys, okay, we were all thinking the same thing, because we were talking about this last time, so let's just go ahead and roll the clip, because it's super exciting.
With that smile in her eyes that says, I love you, knucklehead. I fight for my family, and for the love that we write in blood, sweat, cries, and laughter as we find the courage to fully live another day together. I fight to live better, to give better hugs, to make better love with my wife. I fight like making love with my wife is a journey worthy of my lips, touching on the bosom of her fire. I fight like I'm on fire.
Wow.
Star blazing where old words say your kind isn't allowed to shine here. Well, I fight like this moment right here can't be lived any other way but the way that I shine.
Girl, first of all, that actually happened at like okay. Talk about my research. I love spoken word. Love it. So when I saw him doing this, I'm like, oh, where he doing this at? So turns out there's a huge poetry club here in Hollywood, which is where he did this show. And this is only a year old, but I found footage. He's been doing this for like 7 years, and I think it's really wonderful to see how all these cast members all have like hidden talent.
Yeah.
You know, you have Sarah Stiles, who plays Gladys, huge singer. Beautiful singer, has done movies and Tonys, and has been nominated for Tony. She's so talented, and then you see Ray Romano, who has the comedy thing. So I think it's really wonderful to see this wonderful cast and just see all the different things that they do. So that's the little like news and gossip segment that we have.
That was cool. Thank you for that.
That was great. I wish he could articulate like that with Amara.
Yeah.
Then she wouldn't be doing him so dirty.
Then the thing is, she doesn't even mean to, because I think she really does care about Rick.
Of course.
Rick, but the thing is, she's so controlling. Is that love? Is love control? Because she bought him a new car that didn't match his personality. She's shopping for him, buying him a jacuzzi, asking if he's gonna sell his house. It's like, sis,
She's doing a lot.
she's doing a lot.
But I mean, it's a good twist on the narrative because she's the woman that's in charge, and all the men answer to her. Her nephew wants to appease her. Rick is doing whatever he can, even though it's putting him in hot boiler rooms tied up. Like, she's the ringleader. So
She's that madame.
She's the boss.
right.
She does what needs to be done. Okay, so let's go ahead and segue into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Gets real AfterBuzz. We're gonna start with you, Eric. Okay. So what are these predictions that you have for the next episode, or just kind of like the season?
Miles is clearly on the up and up. His mind is set on getting Emma back, and I'm all for that. I feel like Rick, sadly, you're gonna have to kiss baby girl Amara goodbye, because she's wanted by the FBI and she's been wanted. So he has to give in to that. And hopefully, if I'm correct, Lewis will have the baby, and him and Gladys will be more forthcoming with their relationship now that it's kind of in the open anyway.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. What about you, Danielle?
So I see Miles working with the FBI, but only to an extent. I think he's going to give them just enough information to kind of, keep him and his family safe. But I think we're going to see him plan like a counter attack against the FBI in cahoots with Lewis and Rick. Like, everyone's going to be fine in the end. Yeah.
So do you think that because he's in this space where he's, doing the counterpart with the FBI, they're gonna adhere to his request, like making the movie first before arresting everyone?
I think he's going to get all his requests accepted. He's going to get everything that he wants, and the FBI is going to be, sitting there looking dumb.
Okay. That's a a big prediction.
That's bold.
We're optimistic.
Or you both.
You both.
All right, what about you, Kingsley?
Well, I'm really excited for the next episode because I feel like it's gonna be really unpredictable. Because I feel like now that Rick, Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Miles, I'm sorry. Now that Miles,
The whole cast. I'm just kidding.
Seriously.
Miles, we're with you.
Now that Miles has flipped in his head and he's thinking about Shorty, I feel like it could go anywhere because I feel like he has his mind trained to do what he needs to do. And I feel like whether that's working with the FBI and Officer Dillard or whether that's another way, well, I feel like he's just going to do that. So I'm really excited for it, and I think it's going to be unpredictable like that.
Yeah, and that's the wonderful thing about the show. I'm really so grateful that you guys were here. And, for me, my prediction, honestly, we didn't touch on this too much, but, Miles did have that spiritual encounter with Jeannie, and it really shaped things and shaped this comeback that we have coming from him. And in the middle of interrogating Rick, he actually finds out about Jeannie, and he takes this phone call in the middle of interrogating Rick. So I think that even though we didn't touch on her too much, I think next episode she's going to come back because she's playing an important part for his growth, an important part for him kind of taking his life by his own hands, so I'm very excited to see that. And once again, guys, I'm always blessed and so thankful to be here. I'm Thelma Mbezwe Daniel, your host, and you can catch me everywhere at Thelmy. To my left, I have Eric, and you can go ahead and tell me where you can catch you.
You can catch me at The World According to Eric on all platforms.
Yes, and you, Danielle.
You can catch me on Instagram, Danielle XELLE.
Okay.
You can catch me on all platforms, Kingsley Jank and Jank Worldwide.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm always blessed, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.